Our very own Miss Gudger has taken the time to come into our news studio today. Miss Gudger, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Miss Gudger is our Student Assistant Coordinator and our new Athletic Director. To start off, I want to ask you about your time in Muncie. How long have you been a resident of the city?
I am a Muncie native. I've been here all of my life.
What was your time like as a student of Muncie Community Schools?
I had a great time here. I started at Garfield Elementary, which is no longer a school. Then I went on to Wilson Middle School, and then I went to Muncie Central when there were 3 high schools, but then they closed Northside down as a high school, and my junior year I had to go to Muncie Southside.
So I have to ask, Bearcat, Rebel, or Titan?
Oh Lord. Well, I will tell you this. I am a die-hard Bulldog, and that is either a Garfield Bulldog or a Sutton Bulldog where I used to work.
So after high school, you went on to Ball State. What degree did you pursue there?
Well, I have a degree in social work, but I will tell you my trip to getting my degree wasn't the straight and narrow, you graduate high school, you go on to college and everything works out fine. When I left high school and went to Ball State, I really didn't want to go to school. I think after that transition in high school, I really sort of lost the desire. Mrs. Harrell, who was my high school basketball coach, gave me the opportunity to volunteer coach with her when she was coaching at Muncie Central, and I thought that was what I was going to do. I mean, I'm 18, we know everything, and my grades suffered. So I was put on academic probation, and then I still didn't get it together, and so I was dismissed. So it took me a little while. Later on, I had my oldest son, and so then I went back. So my trip getting my degree in social work was a determined trip, long trip, but very worth the trip.
So I want to first talk about your coaching career before we talk about your career in education. Your time as a coach at Muncie Community Schools adds up to 29 years. Tell us about that, especially how you were one of the first female coaches of color here at MCS.
My trip to be a coach started right after I graduated. I was an assistant coach at Muncie South in track and field for 6 years before I became the head coach in '97. And I also was an assistant basketball coach, but then I was working at Wilson Middle School, and Mike Havlin asked me would I be an assistant. So I was like, sure, I'll be an assistant. And he resigned. So then that's when I was working with Rhonda Ward, and she became the head coach, but then she resigned. And so Mr. Havlin recommended with the athletic director that I become the head coach because I had the experience and I had the know-how, and I relate really well with the kids. I was given the job, and so I was at Muncie Central from 2001 up until about 2009, and I had to leave so that I could finish my degree. But then I left, was asked into coaching again, so I went back, and I was there up until last school year. So kind of bittersweet talking about it because those girls were like my daughters. I still keep in touch with a lot of them and have watched them grow. And I think coaching is just in me.
Your professional career here at Muncie Community Schools adds up to 17 years, being at Wilson Middle School, Central High School, Sutton Elementary School, and of course Northside Middle School. That is a long list of schools over many years. Can you tell us about your journey with MCS?
My journey started at Wilson. I started as an instructional assistant working in the severe and profound classroom. Loved it. Then I became the in-school suspension person. I really loved being able to use the skills that I was learning in school as a social worker to listen to the kids and sort of help them navigate life. Then I went to Muncie Central after having my daughter and stayed there, like I said, for a while. After I left there, I graduated from Ball State and then was asked by Lon Sloan, who was in HR at the time. He noticed that a position came open at Sutton, a student assistance coordinator position, which was ironically a position I said I wanted since its inception here in Muncie Community Schools. I went and did an interview with Dr. Young, got the job, loved Sutton, was there for 6 years. I was only with Dr. Bell for a year before I started working with Mr. Grimm for the last 5 years I was there. And then when our school was unfortunately closing, very bittersweet because we became a family there. Our students, our families, and the staff, very close, and we all helped each other get through that last year. My story to get to Northside was a little different because I was the person that got the letter that said to be determined. I had no idea where I was going. When we had our big meeting, I knew that Northside and Muncie Central were not Title I schools. In order for me to work at that school, I had to help that school become Title I. So Mr. Grimm and I kind of had a conversation, and then we went to the administration, and they worked on making Northside a Title I school, and here I am. So love what I do.
The role of student assistant coordinator is one that many schools are not as lucky to have. What is it, and how does it affect our school?
Our main duties are attendance, making sure kids come to school, meeting and speaking to parents if there's issues at home that keeps the kid from coming to school. We also have to send out attendance letters, do home visits, cafeteria duty, work sporting events or after school activities. We really have about a page and a half of job description, but for me as a social worker, the position really allows me to do the things that I love. That is working with families as well as the students, because students can't really be successful unless they have support from family. If families are in need, as a social worker, it is my duty to make sure that I can offer those services to help families to be able to help themselves. We're all in this together, and if we don't have that support of the people around us, how really can we be successful?
Then this year you took the job of athletic director. What are your new added responsibilities?
Well, I have been in charge of scheduling the athletic events, making sure that I schedule buses, hiring coaches, making sure that families are informed of different changes. And with COVID, I'm going to tell you, I could have taken this position any other time besides now, but this year's just been a little bit stressful when you have closings of schools and teams shutting down due to COVID contact. So it's been a learning experience, but I think it really just kind of ties into me as a coach, and it's allowed me to work behind the scenes as opposed to being that coach out in the front. So I've really enjoyed the experience, but it is definitely a lot of work.
What is your vision for athletics here at Northside?
My vision for athletics here at Northside, and really Muncie Community Schools as a whole, is to make sure that Northside is the feeder school to the high school. The athletes are students first, so it is very important to me that grades come first. Your skill will be whatever it is, but I also want to make sure that I have the right coaches here that care about the kids more than they care about a paycheck or the limelight. I want our kids to understand that you don't have to be the superstar, that there's a place for everyone on a team. But I just really want people to look at Muncie Northside, our athletic program, and say, they're really there for the kids. It's not about the kids shining. I know all parents want their kids to, be the best, and I get that. But I'm trying to get them ready for what it's going to be like in high school as far as academics, as far as what college coaches look for. And you cannot get to college with under a 2.3 GPA now if you want to do Division I. So I want our kids to aim high. If I can help in any way with that, that's what I'm here for.
Outside of Muncie Community Schools, you're also part of a few organizations such as the Black Expo. Why do you find it important to be involved in organizations like this?
I think it's important to give back to your community. I mean, the community helped raise me. Being a member of the Muncie Black Expo chapter, a board member actually, has really allowed me to find my voice in helping people and working with people of all sorts of ethnic backgrounds. I've served on several other boards because I just feel like community outreach is very important, because if we don't reach out to our community to find out what their needs are and what their wants are, then we're just kind of walking blindly. And a community is only as strong as its weakest link.
Are there things you have had to overcome as a woman of color, and how have you persevered?
I would say that yes, I've had to overcome some things as a woman of color. That's a really tough question sometimes to answer, only because I don't ever want anyone to see me as a victim. I look at those trials, if you will, as hurdles. It's just one thing I have to step over and keep on moving. If I dwell on things, make me feel as if I can't do something, then I will never be an inspiration to my own children, let alone the kids that I work with every day. So, of course there are things that I've had to overcome, but talking about those really doesn't make a difference in the big picture for me. I do share those when the time is necessary. I just look at it, like I said, as a hurdle that you've got to figure out a way to get over it, because as women, and especially women of color, I feel, in my opinion, we have carried this country on our backs since slavery. And if slavery didn't stop us, what's a few hurdles in the 21st century going to do to me?
Finally, I want to talk to you about your life as a mother. You have 6 children, including 1 foster child. How has it been raising children in Muncie?
Well, all of my children are products of Muncie Community Schools. I love my children, and my children are the reason why I do what I do every day. They helped me to finish school. My oldest son, Raymond, is 28 years old, and I'm very proud of him. He just purchased his first home, so I'm very proud of him. I have my daughter, Taryn, who works with children as well. She works at Huffer Memorial Children's Center, so I'm very proud of her. She's done that since she graduated high school. My middle son, Nathaniel, was a custodian for SSC here in Muncie, but now he's going to be working with my oldest son in the Magna factory. Very proud of them. They don't have children, and I'm okay with that. I'm not ready for grandmotherhood yet. I have a freshman, Tamara, who's at Muncie Central right now. She's a Northside product as well. And I have Brendan, who is the last of my biological children, and he's 11 years old, a 5th grader at Longfellow Elementary, and he will soon be a Northside Titan next year. And I also have a foster daughter. Her name is Cherish, and she's been with us since July. So we're really just trying to be the best family we can be. I mean, my kids are great at supporting me. I know I drive them crazy. I know there are times when I probably am the worst mother ever, but ultimately, my kids are my world. So I know they don't always feel that way because I'm everywhere, but everything that I do is for them. So I'm just really proud of my kids, and I love them.
We have many students watching this program. Do you have any advice for your fellow Titans?
I do have some advice for my fellow Titans. First, I want you guys all to know that I love you. You have so many staff members who love you here, and we want you guys to all be as successful as you can possibly be. There is no standard for who you can become, so don't let people limit you, put you in a box, because if I had done that when I was growing up, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. Just know that the support is here. Trust your parents, trust your grandparents. Have those conversations with your peers about your expectations and what it is you want to do with your life. Lean on each other, help each other, support each other, and I will guarantee you that you will be whatever it is you want to be in life. So keep reaching.
Thank you for joining us today for this interview.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for watching. This has been an NNS News interview.
Maddie, you did a fantastic job.